You can imagine now, I have just entered my billet. All these new men surrounding me, 15 to each billet, and one billet comprised one section in military terminology, and two sections made a platoon, two platoons made a company, and two companies made a regiment. And we belong to a regiment called the Glorious Gloucesters, which originated in Gloucestershire, England. So the first night, as a Christian, I have to nail my colours to the mast. When you become a Christian, don't hide the fact. Come right out with it, and you'll be the stronger for it. What shall I do? Shall I curry favour with the men? Shall I go easy on my Christianity? Shall I try to compromise? No, no, no. So it came to bedtime, and they were all cursing and swearing and trying to find out who would be the head of the party. Someone always has to be the top guy, the leader of a gang. And they were trying to work all that out the first night. I changed, put my stuff together. Before I got into bed, pulled out my little Bible, started to read, got down on my knees, and began to say my prayers. The noise that I recalled had been going on in the background, deciding who would be the chief of the party, suddenly died into complete silence, because all faces were turned toward this seemingly young punk at the far side, leaning on his bed, kneeling on his knees, praying to God. There was laughter, there were jeers, and there were some cursing and swearing. You can imagine that continued for some time, some evenings, and into the future. What I found out was this: they realized I was a convinced Christian, that I meant business for God, that I was not going to change my position. So I was challenged by one man within the first 3 weeks of being in that billet in boot camp, a very, very strenuous time when some men were actually going under and one man had to go home with a nervous breakdown. So the party came and surrounded me one evening, and one big fellow from Bristol, England, said, "Jim, I want to give you a good licking. That's what you need." I said, "When are you going to do that?" Because I recalled that I was an athlete, I was a good football player, and I worked very hard on the farm from a little boy, and I just finished on the farm in England, running a farm, running almost everywhere I went in order to keep up with things and get all my chores done. So I was a very hard-working fella and very muscular. So I said to the fella, "When is this licking going to be?" He says, "Well, I wouldn't do it tonight. There's too many people around. I'll do it in the town some evening." I said, "Well, I want everyone here to bear me witness that I have accepted your challenge. If you don't, then you're a coward." He backed off, and that was the end of that. I will tell you that later on, after nearly 2 years of soldiering with these fellas, for a full 2 years, they got to like me, they confided in me, and I spend many, many hours talking to them about Jesus Christ. I'll go into that later if you want to. And only one other fellow ever challenged me to a fight, and I turned him down because I wanted to witness to him for the Lord Jesus Christ. So there's a time to laugh and a time to mourn. There's a time to be tough and a time to be easy. And the men knew when it would be, when the time would come, that I would acquiesce with them, sit down with them, and spend whole evenings talking to my fellow soldiers about the love of God that we can experience in the Lord Jesus Christ. That man was also included, and he highly recommended me as both a servant of God and a soldier whom he felt proud to work alongside. So the fact that I accepted his challenge to fight was not an indictment to the gospel, but as a soldier, I was able to prove to him that I could be tough in body as well as humble in spirit.